document preparation. You scan the information. Then you extract data. Now, extracting data is a long conversation. This is where I believe our company is different from many other companies. Many other companies skip this step entirely, and they teach you the next one. Just key in all the index information. I don't believe in that. When you key in information, number one, it takes a long time, which makes it, number two, very expensive, and number three, it can be riddled with errors. If you can electronically, through ICR, intelligent character recognition, or OCR, optical character recognition, or barcode recognition, or optical mark recognition, if you can use any of these technologies to extract the information, you don't have to key it in. Not keying in information is really good, you'll find out. So anyway, we teach you how to extract the data. Then if you have to key in information, and also merging information, which means your clients probably already have an existing database of their customers' names and addresses and account numbers, et cetera, et cetera. If they do, we can teach you how to extract that information and use it in your system. Okay, then there's the storage and retrieval phase. Now, long conversation again about storing information. You could store it. You could simply scan and put it on a removable USB hard drive and hand it to your customer and you're done. But likely, you're going to take your information, you're going to import it into their ECM system if they already have one, or you're going to sell them an ECM system, which is even better news. Or I put a picture of the cloud here because a cloud, now this is not cloud storage, this is cloud ECM, which means it's a real high-end document management system that they have to log in passcode and have access rights and version controls, and they do their retrievals, etc. But a cloud system to you looks like residual income. If you're interested in that, we have run a cloud system since 1999. You can become a reseller of our cloud system if you don't have that. Next one is access. Safety and security always. That's paramount. And that's your biggest challenge in sales, is to explain the safety of your system, to allow them to do their retrieval. So that's what it looks like graphically, folks. All right, let's get into the money. All right, why would you offer scanning to begin with? Okay, your clients are asking for it. Now, I had a dealership the other day tell me that when the clients ask for it, they're actually passing it on, the leads on to the, I think it was the CHAMPS program. Anyway, they're passing the leads on to somebody else. Folks, you're giving away 50 to 80% GP. I'm not so sure that's a good idea. All right, you're leaving money on the table. If you're already doing all of their, maybe MPS, you're selling them copy machines and printers, you're consulting with them, you're doing a lot of support with them, that's great. But if you're not doing the scanning, I guarantee you they'll have the scanning done by somebody. Service is a really growing field. Add value for existing customers. Had one of my students call me the other day out of Boston. He said that a law firm had let me slow down. He basically told this law firm he's thinking about getting into scanning. He's not even trained yet, but he's thinking about it. Their response was, oh, interesting. We have 2 million pages we want scanned, and we're going to have 200,000 pages done just as a pilot, just to see if we like it. So now this guy's going for the RFP, and I'm going to coach him. I'm going to help him through the process because he's never done it before. But at the end of this, that's $26,000 worth of income just for the pilot project. And it's $200,000 worth of income if he wins the whole deal. So not a bad deal. All right, attract new customers. Again, just notify your existing customers that you're out there and you're going to do it. You'll find business, and also start to put on your website. You'll find new customers. Stop losing opportunities. Outsourcing keeps focus on core competencies. Folks, this is why I get into this business. For years, I was training doctors how to feed paper through a scanner. That's not a good idea. Let the doctors do medical work and let them outsource to an expert such as you after you're trained, so that you can do it. It's far less expensive for them. They get a much higher quality product. And did I mention they can go off and make tons of money doing what they already should be doing? All right, every dealer should be offering solution sales instead of just selling boxes. I think we all know that at this point. And if you don't do it, somebody else is going to do it. All right, so from the client's perspective, why would they want to do it? Well, how about stop losing files? How about stop recreating documents? How about becoming more efficient, where they're going to save time and money and frustration, et cetera, et cetera. They're going to meet compliance mandates, which might keep them out of jail, or at very least prevent them from getting a fine. Reduce frustration in the office, perhaps have it underwritten if it's in the medical world. There's lots to gain. They really don't have to spend a lot. By the way, your percentages don't change on a small job versus a big job of profit once you're training, you're running efficiently. So you don't care, man. If they say, hey, I'm not so sure about this thing. How about if I just give you one box? Great, give them a box, charge them, 250, 300 bucks, whatever, and do the job for them. And you're going to find out they will like it. So they don't have to spend a great deal to have information done. All right, from your perspective, I like this picture here. I get this online just the other day. Your staff doesn't have to be highly technical to do this, folks. They really don't. They don't have to have any pre-qualifications. They don't have to be certified. Now, I'm not talking about your sales staff. Your sales staff should be certified, but I'm talking about the functional people. It's a very short sales cycle because you're going to get to a point you're going to say, hey, give me a little sample. I'll do it. Maybe I'll do the little sample free of charge, bring it back. If you like it, we go forward. It's not a long sales cycle. Less sales effort. You're simply going to notify folks. Scanning feeds hosting. That's interesting because think of it this way. Every piece of paper that you run through a scanner is worth to you maybe a dime, maybe a little bit more. However, that piece of paper, if it goes into a cloud-based document management system where you bill monthly for the amount of storage that they use, which is the model, that's called residual income. We have one account, again, that same company down in Georgia, that has been a customer for 12 years, where they pay every month for us to host their information. Perhaps use your existing facility and staff. Listen, I've seen people start with one person in a 10 by 10 room. So you don't have to have a huge facility to be able to do this. So I'm not talking about going out and getting a new building and hiring 10 new people. Clients have needs, I'm telling you. It'd be a shame if you're in, Boston and a customer of yours in Boston hires somebody from Texas to go ahead and scan their information simply because you don't do it. And I'll tell you another thing to watch out for. Suppose that company in Texas starts scanning and says, oh, and by the way, I notice you have, Canon equipment installed in your office. Well, if you had Ricoh equipment in your office, these images would be accessible right from the MFP device, the LCD panel on the MFP device. So if they do that, they might slowly, and they might happen to be a Ricoh dealer, and I don't mean to throw out names, but they might have to be a dealer of that equipment, and all of a sudden you find yourself out on the street. GP at competitive rates nears 80%, and competitive rates means reasonable rates for your customer. E.O. Johnson, real quick. E.O. Johnson, I used to say 5 locations. I think there are 7 locations now. They're out in Wisconsin. I was out there teaching them CDIA. I told them about scanning. They said, well, we'll think about it, and they notified a bank, an existing customer. Well, the bank had just bought another bank with 4,300 loans and said, we'd like to have you scan all this stuff. And they called me up, and I said, oh my gosh, that happened pretty quick. Well, folks, I came alongside of Dave Johnson out there, and I said, hey, let's put together this proposal. I did it for them because they didn't know how to do it, which I do a lot with the people that we train. And I negotiated that deal was $294,000. And at the end of that job, I pulled all the reports, which again are things that we give you. We're big believers in tracking your staff's time and the costs against doing the job. So I pulled all the reports and I did the math, and the job was 54% profit. And that's a true story, and I invite you to talk to Dave. He'll tell you all about it. Okay, potential still on paper. Here's the low-hanging fruit, folks. Medical, hospitals, clinics, private practices, even your dentist's office. Man, that's real low-hanging fruit because it can be underwritten. Banks, credit unions, or mortgage departments, I spent 8 years specifically dealing with that. Gas companies, like the one I was telling you about, have service cards. Electric companies, public utilities. Retail organizations have financials, bills of lading. Guess what, folks? Anybody that produces paper is a target for you. All right, CPAs, lawyers. Lawyers are probably one of your biggest targets, but they're not the easiest people to deal with. Government contractors, and then schools. Any type of a school has student records, special education files, etc. Okay, so having said that, let me throw out a poll to you. If you would take a look at this on screen, just take a minute. I'll just give you guys a minute to go ahead and click off your answer, but click off an answer to that so I can see what everybody thinks. Answers are coming back. Higher security seems like a good one. This is the poll that should be in your GoToWebinar little tool there. I see higher security. I see stop losing and recreating files. Yep, so we'll see at the end of this a consensus and see, and I'll give you the answer to that. So let's go ahead, so I'm going to hold on the poll for now. Let's go ahead and take a look at taking your piece. What would this income look like? All right, so I'm going to, whoops, nope, I don't want to do that. I want to show you something on screen. I believe you folks can all see this. This is a live spreadsheet that I did showing some real examples. So let me show you this first. What I did was I said, hey, let's take a production scanner, any scanner. You know, it could be a, I don't know, $2,000 small scanner. It's a 90 page per minute scanner. Well, let's take 20 working days and let's find out how many pages or images that this scanner, if it's running 100% speed, full-time, 8-hour shift, how many pages can it produce in a 20-day period, a 1-month period? And the answer is 252,000 pages. So 252,000 images, okay? So then I said, okay, staff needed to be able to do this job. I need one person to be able to scan, one person for doc prep, and one person for indexing. Now, you're going to find out that this is not full-time, so it could be the same person. So this is as small as you can go on a scanning bureau of just one person. But what I said for this one, I said, let's put 2 people in during one shift. Now, some assumptions. Document preparation. A person can prepare 50 pages a minute or 3,000 pages an hour. So to do this particular job, you need 47 hours out of a 20-day working period. All right, so it's 5.8 days using one person. So the labor cost is $560. So your cost at $12 an hour paying your staff is $560 to get this doc prep done. Okay, indexing. I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but indexing is going to cost you $2,000 to get this job done. Scanning is going to cost you $1,920 to get this job done. Now, above this red line, let's look. This is what the client pays. Okay, so I usually break it out. I'm an honest person. I break it out so the customer can see it. So doc prep, we charge $25 an hour. Now you can charge anything you want, but let's just throw out some numbers. So $25 an hour. They needed 47 hours of doc prep to get it done. So their invoice is $1,166. Then scanning, I put in 10 cents. Now let's just keep going, and I'm going to answer some questions for you in a minute. So scanning, I put 10 cents. So anyway, indexing was $35 an hour, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, the invoice that you generate to your customer to do this particular job is $32,000. Okay, that's the invoice they get. That's what they pay to have that done. I think it was about 80 boxes is what this job. That's just not a small job, but it's not a big one either. Okay, so your income. Now let's look at your costs against doing the job. To doc prep, you paid out $560 for scanning, et cetera, et cetera. So your cost against doing the job was $4,400. I said I allowed $10,000 for the equipment. Well, that's pretty generous considering I told you it's like a $2,000 scanner. So that includes the scanner, the software, you know, maybe your training, whatever the case may be. So I put in $10,000. I amortized it over 3 years. So what I did was over here, if you look, your labor cost is $4,400 against doing this job. You paid for the equipment, 1 month of the equipment, like on a lease is $300. Overhead expenses to keep the lights on at the office, $1,000. You know, maybe there's various costs that I haven't thought of, forgive me, but there could be. So against doing the job roughly is, you know, $5,700. So out of a $32,000 invoice, you get to keep 26,000 of it. That's 82%. That's not bad. Okay, that's not bad. Now let's talk. What I did was, you see this 13 cents fully loaded cost per page? And the question is it reasonable? If I was lying to you and I just simply overinflated this portion at the top here just so that it appeared really cool for you, you know, send out a $50,000 invoice. But if I was lying to you, this number here wouldn't be 13 cents. What I did was I took the 252,000 images and I divided it by the $32,000 invoice, and I came up with 13 cents. So the question is, can you sell scanning at 13 cents per page? The answer is yes, and I'll tell you why. If you were in a major city, you could probably sell that for 25 cents per image. Like New York City, they would get far more than 13 cents. And I don't know where everybody